welcome back to the podcast. So, today we are interviewing another talented team member. His name is Justin J. Clare, and he is a transplant from the East Coast. And what's great about Justin is that he's super talented, multifaceted. He's got a lot going on. He's a filmmaker and also an up-and-coming musician. He works on a couple of other projects for us, and it'd just be great to get to know him a little bit better and introduce him to you because you guys are already familiar with his work if you follow me on my other channels. So, without further ado, let's bring in Justin.
Hi.
Justin, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Not only am I excited to have you on the podcast, but I'm
Yeah.
excited to learn more about you, obviously.
Me?
Yes, I mean, I know you a little bit. We've been working together some months now,
Sure.
and I think this will be a great opportunity to get to know you even more.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of interesting things happening in your life,
Yeah,
and
I
we're going
guess
to talk about those things today.
Okay, cool. I'm excited.
All right, so obviously we've been working together for a while, for
Yes.
those of you who don't know. And we've shared some great memories, did a little
Yes,
travel.
absolutely.
You shoot
Already,
one
yeah.
of the other projects
Yes.
that we are producing content for. Justin, we'll start off by asking you to tell us a little bit about yourself, you know, the folks at home who
Yeah.
don't know you. You're
Sure.
normally behind the camera.
I'm Justin Clare.
Justin J. Clare.
J. Clare. I also go by my middle initial, James. Put the J in there. So I'm a filmmaker, a director, writer, cinematographer, specifically an editor. That's my main forte. I've edited, multiple shorts and things of the like, content for you. That's just my favorite thing to do. Then
My
I'm
content,
also
right.
your content, yes. Then well, specifically also because I really like short form things. I like things that, a week or two to complete and then move on to the next thing. I find staying on something too long, it just destroys me. But so there's the editing. Then I'm also, I guess now I am a musician. I started a band last year while making the soundtrack for my short film, my senior film.
What we like to do on this podcast is pose our questions in the form of engaging activity.
Look at my water for that.
Let's check out our categories.
Yes.
Someday, art school, influences, childhood, X or unknown, like
Oh.
basically a fill in the blank kind of category.
Okay.
What we don't know, oddball, which is our out of pocket questions, so be prepared.
Very
And
prepared.
the countermen.
All right.
All right.
Good categories.
Yes, excellent categories. All right, so shall we give it a spin?
Absolutely. So you spin it?
Yes.
Okay, go for
Or
it.
do you want to?
Oh, no, you go for it.
Okay.
I'll flip. Oh, that was magical.
All right.
Someday. Yes.
Okay, so I have some questions,
Absolutely.
and we'll have a conversation around those questions, okay?
Cool.
So feel free to kind of lead us. For everyone who hasn't seen your film, Sunday, tell us what it's about.
I always have trouble telling people what it's about because I guess it's kind of a personal story for me, so it just kind of feels like a slice of life in 20 minutes. But basically the film, it deals with things of, it's a coming of age film, dealing with expectations in life, on what to do, I guess also kind of what loved ones expect you to be, dealing with your hopes and dreams if you're not in the place you want to be, where you want to be. But basically it's about a kid. He moves to a small California town from New York City, and this is post 9/11, so it's like 2002. And he joins a band. He meets a guy, Jack, who has his band. He's the cool guy and everything, but Jack also has his problems too. Jack is from this small town, wants to go to a big town. Archie is finally in this small town, and he really enjoys being in this small town. So they get a friendship on things that they kind of find that they like in each other. And they both, I guess, face the question of what they want to do with their lives. And so they, through the music and through their friendship, they kind of figure out what they want to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
All right,
you.
and I was at your film premiere for Someday, if you remember.
Oh, I do remember.
That's not where we met,
You're
but
sitting 2 seats from me.
I was.
How could I not? remember.
So it's not how we met, or when we met rather, but that was an interesting night.
Yeah.
I remember it pretty distinctly. That was my first premiere.
Ah, good.
So it was really cool.
Yeah.
And I've also never been in Crest Theater
It's
before.
beautiful.
So
That's
that
great.
was it was really pretty.
It was really nice.
Although I thought I was going to tumble to my death coming down those like stairs.
It's
for
really
sure.
it's really steep. It's
For
like
sure.
it's
Like
like
no-
a classic movie palace.
Yeah, like no like rails or anything
Yeah.
like, and everyone was like in heels and everyone was like walking stupidly.
Absolutely,
You know? So
yeah.
I thought I was gonna die, but I'm glad I didn't
Good.
because I got to see your film
And
it
you're
was
here.
really good.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, you
Thank
like
you.
that segue there?
I did. Yes.
All right. So the one thing that really stood out about your work is that vintage feel. So let's talk a little bit about that. Like,
Yeah,
what-
people, even just from reading the script and other scripts that I've done, I seem to get that a lot, that there's like this vintage feel. And I guess a lot of what I like to do has to deal with nostalgia. Not if it's innately based on nostalgia, but I think a story is relatable when there's things in it that feel like you've seen before and feel that you kind of lived through. So for me, growing up, a lot of the things, the feeling, the clothing, the just the idea of like being in a band and the kind of unrealistic way it kind of happens in the film, like, hey, you want to be in a band and they shake hands. It's just it kind of feels like something you would think of when you're a kid. So I think it always draws back to that. And the music and just living in Placerville, and where we shot the whole film in Placerville. That's where I live. I live in the town nearby, but most of the town feels like, you know, it stopped growing in the mid '90s, and it just kind of is aging. It's not really growing anymore, so the town feels like it's stuck in that time.
I used to have a friend that lived in Placerville. I only went to see her one time, but it is a small town.
It is.
And it definitely, I can totally like understand what you're talking about
Yeah.
when it comes to that feel.
Mm-hmm.
And having grown up in Sacramento, I used to think Sacramento was a small town. And
Placerville
so-
is definitely a smaller town. There is
Yeah.
smaller, but people, when they refer to Placerville, they're usually referring to at least 5 different towns. They're referring to where I live. I live in Shingle Springs. There's Cameron Park. Then there's Camino, and then a little bit more towards South Lake Tahoe. But like that whole area is known as Placerville because of Hangtown in the center. So Placerville is technically the small town. But yeah.
And it's
It is
also
small.
the county, right?
No, El Dorado County.
okay.
There is a Placer County.
Yeah,
but
that's
that's
the other way.
Yeah.
Roseville and stuff.
So the county's actually pretty big, but
Okay, so you mentioned a little bit about like everyone kind of like thinks of you like with this like vintage, like that's your
yeah.
vibe, right?
Yeah, that's the
And
vibe.
you know, I totally see that because honestly, like I'm surprised. I was really surprised when I saw your car. I didn't think you would have that kind of car.
Well, I had.
I would think you would have like a 1970s like Volkswagen like bus.
That's what I'd rather have. But when you put in $10,000 every 2 years to keep an old car up, yeah. Before this, I have it's a Subaru Impreza. But before that, I had a 2000 Camaro. That was my grandpa's car. That was my favorite car. I love it so much. I loved it. We had to sell it, but it was just rusted to bits underneath. And within 1 year, I put in $4,000 into it, and there still was no AC in the California summers. And had to replace the brake system again. So just having a new car now. Yeah, I can't deal with cars.
It
I
really is a
can't.
hobby.
It is.
to
I don't
deal
have.
with
Yeah, I don't have the
cars.
money or the love to deal with it. Yeah.
But you have the look. And you should totally do like some photo shoots like in a 1970s like slug bug. Slug
Eventually.
box even.
Yeah.
All right, so let's spin again.
Oh right.
What we don't know. Let's see here. All right. So, talk to me about
Yes.
RuPaul's Drag Race.
I love that show. That's the best show.
And I wouldn't
is.
have pegged you for someone
Yeah.
who would love that show.
No, that's the best show I've ever
Um,
seen. Yeah. It's great.
And you've seen a lot of shows, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you're
a lot of
film and like TV enthusiast.
yeah.
So that qualifies that statement.
It's really similar to what used to be my favorite reality show was The Amazing Race. I haven't watched it the past 5 years, but like the first 5 years it was on, and then a little bit after that it was just really intense and like it felt really personal. And that's, I guess, the thing with RuPaul's Drag Race is it follows the same formula. It's they kind of build this narrative out of these people that are all kind of crammed together, and it's best when they interact. But yeah, that's my favorite show. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, do you have secret like hopes and dreams of like taking the stage like as a drag queen?
No, not that I want to be a drag queen. I just find the whole drag idea really interesting. That, especially for that's one of the reasons why I love the show, is for someone like them to fully embrace that side of them and their passion, and just kind of say fuck it and just kind of do it. It's really interesting.
You would make a pretty drag queen, though. I think so.
Yeah.
You know, the folks in San Francisco, there's like a sect of queens that like wear a lot of like royal, like not royal, but like religious garb. I forget what their names are, like sisters of something. But anyways, they have beards.
Oh,
they
I
have like full on
yeah.
beards, like, but they have like really extreme makeup. I mean,
Yeah.
like super extreme, and then they wear like the full like robes and like priestly and like nun attire. I forget what they go by, but you can catch them at any like San Francisco like fair.
Yeah.
And so you can be a queen with a beard.
I could.
And it wouldn't take away from your prettiness.
True.
So
that's a possibility.
So, you know, something to keep in mind. You know,
Okay.
you got some options there in life, right?
Yeah. True.
All right.
It's a fallback. If the music thing doesn't work out.
Yeah,
I'll
you
be a
know,
drag
hey,
queen.
you could still be in entertainment, right? You could still be in
Absolutely.
front of the camera if that doesn't work.
That's the point, yeah.
All right. So, something you mentioned in your film, or when you were talking about Someday,
Yeah.
was that it was like post 9/11, and you are from New York.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about like 9/11 and like when you were in New York and like what you experienced. I mean, you were pretty young, right?
Yeah, I was in kindergarten, and I know it's really cliche, especially people my age, to say, well, 9/11 really affected me, like the same way a baby boomer is like, World War II really affected me. But I lived in this part of New Jersey that was about like 20 miles away from Manhattan, and at the World Trade Center where the Twin Towers were hit. And just that whole day, it kind of subliminally has affected me a lot. I remember watching it on TV. I remember going home, and my mom, my aunt, she used to work there, and she, not until recently, she didn't work there anymore, in one of the buildings at the top. And just not knowing what was going on, and just kind of, you know, the next 10 years, kind of really realizing what that means for the heart of the country to be attacked in such a way, and just for two buildings to fall completely down, and then there's the conspiracies and things, and it's all just a really interesting like time period, or conundrum where like media was affected. You couldn't say certain things anymore. It changed the way we move, we travel, the way we interact with things. I also like that, I don't like it, but it's interesting that some films had to, you know, they had to re-edit films, reshoot certain films because certain scenes involved the Twin Towers, and you couldn't use that anymore. And the way it affected music, certain things. So I think it's just this whole bubble. Not that I love 9/11, but I really enjoy that post 9/11 era where things were kind of changing. Because for most people, I guess they're kind of stuck on what life was like before that, and they always think, okay, well, life before this was this. But no, I kind of enjoy understanding why it's different now.
Yeah, so it's like really understanding the human response, especially as it impacted our society, right?
Yeah, even if you don't even think about it, like subliminally. And the way it relates with my movie is the character of Archie, our main character, he moves from New York City into the small California town, and for him, it's kind of something he doesn't want to be a part of anymore because he lived it. But for the Jack character who lives on the other side of the country, still sees New York as this golden opportunity of what, you know, of what it is. So And then when I moved, even from New Jersey to Florida, it was commonplace in New Jersey for every 9/11 to have like like half an hour of silence. We have a presentation on what happened. We would, the announcements would go on. We would talk about 9/11 for a bit. Then I moved to Florida, and it was 9/11, 2007 or 8, and there was not a single word. And that was the weirdest thing for me. I was kind of like appalled, like, why are we not acknowledging that this happened, 5 or 6 years ago? And then even moving to California, and literally no one cares. No one, I mean, people care, but it's not like a thing that people talk about. And for me, that was so close to home that no one talks about it. It's so interesting for me.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. So you talk about how you were like going into like kindergarten.
I was in kindergarten. Yeah.
So you had just started though, right? Because it was September.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you were
started in about August, so I was.
Okay, so you guys have the early school thing. But I remember my so this is gonna like really highlight our age difference here, but you were like in just starting kindergarten, and I was like a week away from going to college.
Yeah.
So that was, I remember like just having finished kind of pegging what I wanted to take with me.
Yeah.
To college, and like I had like marked everything, and I started packing, and I want to say I was just like, school started in the middle of the week, like on a Wednesday or Thursday, and this was, I don't remember what day of the week this was.
I feel like it was a beautiful Tuesday morning or Monday. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it was like close to the beginning of the week, and I want to say school started either at the end of the week or like obviously the beginning of the following week then. Yeah. But I remember there was some number of days, but not too many in between when I was going to start college. And I had like gotten all my stuff together. I knew what I was going to take with me. I told all my friends bye. And I was like coming out of my room into the living room, and my parents were like fixed to the TV, like watching what was going on. Yeah. And I obviously sat down and was watching too, and it didn't really understand like what, I mean, never, being someone who didn't have to live through any on soil like attacks. And even growing up, while there were wars, I think there was like the Kuwait and some of the stuff like that happened in the 90s under Bush. Yeah. Like that didn't mean anything. Like I didn't understand any of those things at the time that those were happening. So this was like the first like realization for me that like shit can go down like and impact us as Americans. Like I totally was like in a bubble and didn't think,
I was gonna say everyone's in a bubble that they don't think about it. But
didn't think that like it just was not fathomable, you know? So yeah, we talked about 9/11, in California, and I remember like from year to year it was more and more waning. I think that there was always like an awkward acknowledgement of 9/11. However, I just feel like people in California didn't know what to say about it because it didn't impact them specifically or directly, but it did impact like travel. So many things changed because of 9/11. So I just remember like in college, at work, you'd be like, oh, it's 9/11. And you'd be like, oh. And sometimes there would be like less traffic that day, and you knew that it was like a Friday. There should be traffic. Weird shit like that. So I felt like it was acknowledged in unspoken ways, but I think that our country handles tragedies really oddly. I think that, and I don't have any like way to compare it because I don't know how other countries handle tragedies, but I feel like when bad things happen here, Americans aren't very tolerant about like letting people work through things or acknowledging the full gravity of a situation. So I hear like people say, oh, get over it, like move on, like, you know, about a lot of things that are as big as 9/11 and other things that are like equally big that have happened in history that people still hold on to for multiple reasons. So I don't know. I feel like it's really odd. Kind of like, I think it's very telling because I feel like we have this very like interesting form of national consciousness, like a very prescribed or forced patriotism, especially as a response to 9/11. But then like people show their true colors like every day, you know? So if someone says something about 9/11, everyone's like, oh yeah, 9/11, they're up in arms and stuff. But then what are you doing to like do things like support like the ambulance and first responders, like the firefighters, the like volunteers, the victims, etc. Just weird shit. So, I mean, I feel like I'm maybe going off topic a little bit, but I feel like this country has a hard time acknowledging things that have happened to it or things that it's done to people or even itself. And maybe people are just uncomfortable as like part of our culture. We're just uncomfortable dealing with tragedies, and we don't have the bandwidth or the capacity to like understand this kind of self-imposed issue enough to like unpack it and work through it. And instead we just choose to like become silent about it as a way of proving that like we've gotten past it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I don't know, some kind of weird response. Like, ooh, we just got hella deep right now. But
no,
like,
that makes sense.
You know, like some weird shit. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess as a country, we don't necessarily fail much with certain things. So I guess when there's something that we kind of let slip by, we're not really taught how to deal with it. So that makes sense to me. Totally.
And so I just feel like we just want to get over it as soon as possible. So we want to stop talking about it as soon as possible. All right, so shall we spin again?
Absolutely.
All right.
Let's spin it.
The Countermen.
Yes.
So we have one Counterman.
One Counterman.
And
Four.
Tell us a little bit about your group, your band.
So we are if you have to classify it, I guess it's the indie rock sound.
Okay.
Yeah, we are 4 of us. It's me. I play the lead guitar. Andrew, he sings and he plays rhythm guitar. Dante, he plays drums. And then we have Trevor, who plays bass for us.
And are any of these guys from your movie someday?
No. None of them were in it. Well, Andrew and I, we have a little cameo towards the end of the movie. But
I remember that.
Yeah. I was
like, hey, that guy. I know him.
Yeah, no one's in it. Our playing is, though, just me, Andrew, and Dante. Trevor's not a part of the soundtrack, but yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right, so how did you come up with your name? Like, tell me about the Countermen. Like, what does that mean? What are you trying to communicate?
I don't think it has a specific meaning. We were reading, I think it was 1984 by George Orwell. We were just looking through books, and I found this this word. He referred to these people as the Countermen. Or a counterman. I can't remember which one it was, but he was referring to some guy at a diner or a clerk, pretty much. And I thought, that sounds kind of cool, and I wrote it down with a list of like 20 different names. And then before our first show, like a week or so before, we needed a name, so we picked that one, and it's kind of sticking. But what it means, I guess by definition, it's someone that works behind a counter. Someone has told us that it possibly has meaning with time, like counting things. Countering something, like you're countering an attack or countering an argument, stuff like that. Counterculture. So it kind of
the counterculturemen.
The counterculturemen, to whatever people kind of feel from it at the moment. That works.
All right, that's cool. And so you described your vibe as like indie rock.
Yeah. What's
your first album? What's the story that your first album is trying to tell?
I wouldn't really say there's a story, since we're only about a year into being a band. So over the year we have about 10 songs, but those are just kind of songs that we play, the songs that we know. There really isn't a cohesive idea following or a cohesive sound. It's kind of just the songs that we play. Probably an album next year, but we are working on recording like a small EP of like about 5 or 6 of the songs that we just play that don't really have any connection.
Okay.
But I guess if there is a motive that carries throughout the lyrics of everything, it's kind of the feeling of feeling like you're underwhelming or not understanding properly like what's expected of you and things like that, and just feeling unsatisfied with things.
Like a nod to the film, right? The storyline.
Yeah, well, because it all happened at the same time, so
Right.
it all kind of is the same thing.
And that's why I kind of asked, like, if you were telling the story, because one, as a filmmaker, obviously you're a storyteller, and I didn't know if that necessarily, like, one for one translated into, like, the way your music is being developed, you know?
Yeah.
Like, how you're developing your music. But
Yeah.
two, since a lot of the music was inspired by or in the movie or from that same time period, I didn't know if the movie influenced it.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm just curious about all that.
Yeah, all of the songs that are in the movie are also reworked into actual songs.
Like full-fledged songs.
Yeah, full-fledged songs. I mean, I don't write the lyrics, but Andrew writes the lyrics, and each song I'll have a few inputs on certain lyrics and things, and I'll come to him with a few phrases for a song, and then he does his thing and he writes it really quickly, and then we kind of put it together, and so the feeling is there. It's all kind of the same thing.
And these are guys you, like, go way back with? Or?
Only Andrew. Andrew I went to high school with when I moved to California, so that was 2012 was when I met him in high school. Yeah. And then Dante, just met Dante last year, and Trevor I met even more recent.
Cool.
Yeah.
But you guys all, like, vibe, and
Yeah, we all vibe. We're very similar people.
we can expect great things from this.
The best things.
The best things.
Only the best.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, so you've had a couple of local shows recently. What can we expect from your group in the near future? So you said that you're going to put out an EP, or you're working on that now, and in the future a full album, but, like, what else? More shows?
Yeah, more shows. Just playing with other people. I think that's the thing that we really like to do, is just playing with other people.
Let's talk about future film plans. So, are you going to be making any other movies? Anything else in the works?
Yeah.
Are you going to direct your own music videos? Like, what can we expect from you visually?
The path for now with Andrew. I throw a lot of ideas out for videos, and we have quite a few planned. That's kind of the immediate future. Like, the next 5-year plan is that sort of thing. I definitely still want to make narratives, you know, like proper short films and even bigger things and stuff like that. But right now, definitely, if working with someday that kind of vibe, but transfer that into more music videos. Yeah, because my favorite thing about film is how you can throw every art form together into something. And
Is that the next film? Something?
something. No, it's a terrible title. I never use that. But yeah, that's the idea, to do more with that.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's spin again. Art school.
Art school.
So, did you get into this form of artistry, like were you always, like, trying to film, like, videos and movies and things? Were you always into movies before you went to school, or did you really develop that skill and passion while in school?
Definitely the skill. I mean, the passion was probably even stronger beforehand, because I guess once you get to school and you go through it, it's really tiresome and it can wear you down. But I definitely had the passion since I was that's always what I've known, what I've wanted to do, even since pre-K, even preschool. It was always that. Before that, it was acting, and then kind of a mix into starting to make the movies, because the idea of being behind the scenes became more interesting, and then it turned into wanting to direct, and then turning into edit and write and things like that. So that's always been the passion beforehand. But the skill, of course, that comes with school and meeting people and working with people and throwing you into the situation where you actually have to make something. That's where learning happens.
Okay.
If you just learn theory all your life, you're wasting all your time.
Take that, Sac State.
Yeah, most schools. or most places, most people in life.
Yeah.
Just read about it. So.
So, speaking of school, though,
Yes.
like, do you think you'll go back? Are you interested at all in like taking your education further? Like, I don't know what the path is for, you know, you've already graduated recently. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But like, are you interested in going back and like, I don't know what the next level is exactly, or is it just more and more experience?
Yeah, not saying that I will or that I'm planning or I want to, but I'm always interested in learning more. I wouldn't mind if I went for a master's degree going somewhere else entirely different, a whole new scenery to get, you know, I think people learn the most when they're out of their comfort zone, so somewhere completely different and try to figure it out there for a master's or whatever it is. But yeah, I always love that idea. Not that I will anytime soon, but it's always up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said you learned a lot of your skill from school and situations that kind of came about like from school. So like the social relationships that, you know, you fostered like during your time at
Yeah, that's the biggest
AI.
thing is with learning through other people, learning how to deal with people, what they can offer you and stuff like that. That's just the most important thing. Yeah, I think with school, they, you know, forcibly put you into those scenarios and make you want to go for those situations, and that's where you learn. Yeah, not saying that the school directly taught me, but it taught me to want to learn more.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you specifically, like one of the things that I thought was really interesting about you when I got to know of you and then know you is how comfortable you are on different, like not using digital, right? So you're a photographer. I think we mentioned that earlier, but if we didn't, like he's a really good photographer. But also you have shot movies on like old school like reel or something, right? So talk to me a little bit about like that and also like your passion for like 35 millimeter like film and everything like that.
Yeah, with shooting movie film, I've only had the pleasure of shooting it one occasion, 2 separate days for a friend for an experimental documentary. It was an old 16 millimeter Bolex, a black and white. You have to crank it kind of camera. You crank it and then it winds up and then you let it go. That was great. That was really fun. But I always shoot 35 millimeter film photography. It's so much more interesting to me. The biggest misconception with film is that it's really fragile, that you can fuck it up a lot, you can overexpose it, whatever, let the light leak, and it's really, really forgiving. It's honestly, it's easier to take a 35 millimeter photo than it is to take your phone and get a good photo. It's just that easy. And there's I guess there's more of a concept with it. You have more of a mindset before you're shooting a photo. Like if I want to get a certain photo, I know I want to use black and white, and I know I'm only going to be looking for light values, not looking for colors, because the colors aren't going to show up. It doesn't really matter. If I know I'm going to be coming in here and like if I'm taking a photo of you with this light, then I'm going to use color because the color's nice. So it adds a lot of stuff beforehand.
Let's spin again.
Yes. Well, what is left first before we do that?
So someday we've taken care of art school, influences, childhood.
Didn't we touch up on childhood, or was that I just talked about it already, but we didn't go deep into it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then X.
And then
Oddball.
That's it. So
Cool.
we cleared off a lot of this, basically these ones and this one.
Cool. Let's do it.
All right. X.
What was X? I forgot again.
Who was X?
Oh, I'm not. That's not my territory.
All right. So X is basically like a fill in the blank kind of
ad-libs.
situation. So
Okay.
this is like more off the cuff stuff, okay?
I'm
So let's create a soundtrack of your life. And I would like for you to tell me about different monumental stages of your life to date.
I think I need some paper to write this down.
And place these stages, like place a song that like really kind of sums up or expresses or like has like a meaningful reference like for each of these kind of like life stages. So
okay.
Maybe your favorite like as a baby, like a child, like your first song, some whatever, like and then as you've grown. So just pick like 4 or 5. So I'll let you tell me what stages in your life were kind of like meaningful in a way that you can place a song that kind of sums it up.
Oh man, this is a very deep question. Oh man, let's see. Yeah, okay. I could definitely pick one for when I was a little guy. Because you mentioned a song that I probably really, really liked at the time. Just because I think it encapsulates like what culture was and how I interacted with culture. It's Bye 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 by NSYNC when I was little, because that was my favorite song when I was little. I loved
so cute.
that song. Yeah.
And I lightweight like think that your initials are perfect for like a boy band, so I think that like
JJC.
Makes sense.
Justin
JJC?
Timberlake. Yeah.
No, there was a JC in that group too.
Which one was that?
The other singer.
Oh, what was his name?
JC.
Was it JC? I don't know. I know Joey Fatone.
Yeah.
I like him.
Really?
I like My Big Fat Greek Wedding. He's in it.
Yeah. JC is the other lead singer that actually, honestly, like the more talented singer. Sorry, he like is way better than Justin. Chavez.
Where is he now?
He's hosting some television show. I don't remember which. So definitely not like he didn't kick off like Justin did for sure. But
no,
he's got more talent. Yeah. Sorry.
So I would pick that song because, like I said, because of the culture at the time. I think things like that just can't really exist right now.
Oh yeah.
I think anything that tries too hard or goes all out, like full on denim, full on boy band, or just so like saturated, it would be laughed at now.
Well, I just thought it was always like, why are they a band? They're not a band.
True.
They're a group.
They're a product. They're
at most they're a group though.
Yeah, but they are a product of a record company looking to have the next it thing and trying to sell what they call music out.
Ooh,
and so yeah.
They call music.
Yeah, I mean it ended up being music, but it was not crafted as music. It was crafted as a product. Like crafted as like a candy. Everyone wants a candy. So they made a music that was candy. Yeah. That's my take on that.
All right.
Yeah. So then
spoken like a true artiste.
Yes. So I don't have one right now. I'll probably think of it for the middle portion of my short life so far. But if I had a song for probably the last 3 years, it would be a song. It's called "The Modern Age," and it's by The Strokes. It's my favorite band. Just from that title, that kind of sums up how I feel. That we're constantly living in the modern age, the next generation, the future. And the song deals with a lot of things like we move so fast in this world that we kind of don't take long enough to kind of realize what's going on. We all try to have a hand in everything, that we don't have time to kind of sit on one thing. I forget how the lyric goes. I think it's flying overseas, no time to feel the breeze. I took too many varieties. And like from that you can get flying overseas, the modern age, we're in planes, we're constantly moving fast, and no time to really sit and enjoy the whole process of it. Okay. So I think that for me, that's something that constantly faced with is, should I really appreciate what's happening, or should I constantly keep trying to progress and do more in my life instead of, appreciating what I have at the moment.
Stopping to smell the roses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's that. And then I don't know if I could find a song for the middle portion of my life, because it doesn't really count.
Well, I mean, I think if we think hard enough, I feel like there are some cliche songs of the 2000s that are worse than Bye Bye Bye, which was like the start of like 2000s,
Yeah.
that are like fun to think about, even
Cotton
if they
Eye
aren't
Joe.
like.
I put Cotton Eye Joe as the song of my teen years.
That's your.
No,
Oh.
no, it's not gonna be Cotton Eye Joe.
Stacy's mom.
I loved that song. Of course I did. It was great. Yeah.
What about My Chemical Romance?
Oh, I did. Oh, yeah. Okay. How can I forget? Yeah.
We
It would
share
be.
that.
I guess if I had I've always had long hair, but I used to, kind of wear it like down that a little bit. So I guess I could definitely put My Chemical Romance. Yeah, it would be I'm Not Okay by My Chemical Romance. That's that has that 12-year-old, 11, 13-year-old angst in it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And obviously, as a filmmaker, I know I've heard
Yes.
from Asia
Yes.
that you guys talk about how great that video is.
Oh, that's one of the best videos
Made
for
as
any
a trailer,
song.
so
No, yeah, it's the best introduction
to a new group.
to not just a group, but the best introduction to like any person, any media. It just sets up such a perfect like path for what they could do. So yeah, it's a great trailer. If there was a movie, I wish it was a movie, but
yeah,
I
I like
the mark.
them. I miss them. All right, so Stacy's mom and I'm Okay.
Oh, for point two, sure. Yeah, we'll throw in Stacy's mom. Yeah.
That song and that.
Well,
video
it's funny
is
you
just
mention
so
that.
funny.
So that band's name is Fountains of Wayne. I grew up in a place called West Paterson, New Jersey. It's called Woodland Park now. But we had many fountains, and we bought them in Wayne, which was the town over, only like 2 miles away, at Fountains of Wayne, which is where the band lived in Wayne, and they got their name from one of their friends that worked at Fountains of Wayne.
Oh wow.
It all wraps around, yeah. The store is gone now, but that's where we used to buy our fountains.
The band, unfortunately.
Probably.
Yeah.
But yeah. So there's
Even that town is gone, right? It's like not even named that anymore.
Wayne is still Wayne, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's like with the 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty much
You're basically
related
done.
to Stacy's mom.
So let's do this one more time and see if we get something good.
All right. Let's do it.
Oh, look at that. Wow.
Holy shit.
Influences. So
This is with everything?
yeah, just in general. I mean, like you, I feel like you are such an interesting person, right? You have a lot of different perspectives. You've lived in a few different places.
Yeah.
I think you've also kind of lived on both sides of the fences, right? Like in a big city, but also like a small town now, right? And just like, you're into music, you're into film, you're a funny guy, and like
Yeah.
just what inspires you. So I mean maybe they're synonyms, but if you don't want to so much talk about like what influenced like your past, maybe you can talk about what like inspires your future. I don't know.
Well, with the past, that's honestly pretty easy for me. My mom always exposed me to a lot of things, a lot of culture, a lot of films, food, my dad and music, and always things like that. So I guess art just kind of came as the first thing to me to want to pursue it in that way. If it would have to pinpoint a movie or a director that got me really into wanting to write films and direct films and edit, my favorite movie of all time is Back to the Future. It's ever since I saw it the first time. I think I was like 6 or 7 or something, but that just kind of set the path of what I was going to do. And what I kind of always wanted to capture with whatever I make is kind of that feeling that the movie, gave me. I always want to give that back to someone in some way. And so I guess that's also why I always appreciate that vintage thing. My favorite everything was always at least 20 years before me.
Yeah.
Always in a different time.
Did you celebrate like Future Day or whatever they called it?
Yeah, it was October 25th,
Yeah.
2015. Yeah, I went to the movies. They had Back to the Future, the 3 of them playing, and I don't know if it was IMAX, but it was on the screen. It was the first time I saw them in a theater, and hearing people laugh at them, and because I never really realized they are comedies. That they're like comedy adventure films with science fiction elements, and I never really understood that until I saw it with people bringing their kids, people laughing at the movie at certain parts. I'm like, oh wow, that actually is kind of funny. So yeah, I did celebrate.
So you
that
laughed
day.
for the first time.
Yes.
Like
October 25th. I was like, wow. Well, I'd laughed before that, but at the movie, yeah, first time I laughed. Yeah.
All right.
Then other influences, if it goes to music, it's used to be the birth of rock and roll, a lot of early 60s, mid 60s rock. I really enjoyed that. Then I didn't get enough of that. So I found every time rock has a little rebirth, that's when I appreciate it the most. So, the early 60s, the new wave in the late 70s, I don't really count 80s rock because it's not really rock, it's whatever. Then early 90s is kind of cool. I hate a lot of it. I hate a lot of that. But I think early 2000s is when rock kind of exists as we know it now, that indie rock sound that everyone defines, which is what our band defines, is that indie rock sound of the early 2000s. So bands like Interpol, the Walkmen, the Strokes, bands just like that kind of came around the East Coast, New York. All those bands developed around New York, the new New York sound, and that's definitely the biggest musical influence. Yeah.
Is there any other like artistic medium that you?
Oh yeah.
Like we don't know about, like anything else?
Well, if there is photography, all of it comes from. I enjoy looking at photographers' work, but all of it kind of stems from cinematography, from actual, filmmaking, and understanding what you could do just from a frame of a film, and that's what I kind of try to accomplish. So I really can't talk much about other photographers because that's not really what I'm interested in, even though I love taking photos. Any other art? I mean, I wanted to be a traditional artist even when I was younger too. I took a lot of classes and I was pretty good for a while. I don't know any other arts. Culinary arts. I like cooking. I enjoy that.
Okay.
I do, yes. But I don't think I'm going to pursue that.
All right.
Yeah.
It's time to take a little break. So after
Perfect.
the jump, we'll be back with a little segment that involves the internet.
Wow.
Yeah. Imagine
God,
that in
yeah.
2018. All right, guys. Catch you soon. Hey, guys. I want to tell you to check out my newest video on my review channel, Pursuit of Brilliance. I post new videos once a week on Saturdays. We do a lot of cool things, which I can't wait to share with you. So be sure to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications, and pop on over to Pursuit of Brilliance. Catch you on the flip side.
Cutting.
And we're back. We're here with JJC, and he has
Hi.
his trusty wooden instrument here, and he is going to do a little ditty for us, right?
Yep.
That's what you called it?
Those are my words exactly. Little
So,
ditty.
Just something about just showing his skill and like giving us like a sense of his like musical vibe, like.
Yeah. What's the best thing I could say? I'm not really gonna play the stuff that I normally do with the band because if I play lead on top of stuff, it doesn't sound really interesting when it's on its own because it's supposed to be played with everything else and it sounds really layered and full. So usually when I play my own, I just kind of do what most guitarists do, just play little bluesy licks, little ditties, just little things like that. Yeah, things like that, and what else can I do that's a little interesting? I play specifically kind of, and I have a big hand, my thumb wraps around nicely. So you'll see a lot of guitarists like play like this and stuff, and that's really not the ball for me. I kind of roll my hand around. So that's, if anything that's interesting about me is I play like that. It's kind of how people like Jimi Hendrix played, ways like that. But yeah, just
Wow, so good. That almost took me away. I was like closing my eyes and like drifting away. It sounded so nice.
Oh, thank you.
And you know, that's why you're my music teacher. Justin is teaching me how to play guitar, just recreationally, one song in specific, and we record our sessions, and you might check those out on the other channel. But yeah, Justin is teaching me in spite of these. He wishes that I would get rid of them, but I'm not.
If only.
They are shorter though, so I have him in mind.
Yeah.
When I'm at the nail shop, but not short enough apparently.
No,
so I just feel like finger picks, right? Like, I mean, I'm just saying.
This hand, yes, right hand, longest nails you can have are great. But with this, I know. It's supposed to be like that.
Maybe I can put like a fake finger over my fingers.
No, you gotta feel it.
Like
That's cheating.
Like a hand, like a mask for my hand.
That's cheating.
Like a Hollywood glove.
Unacceptable.
Well, thank you for playing that. That
My
was
pleasure.
really nice, actually.
Thank you so
it was really
much.
good. You're so talented. So the next thing is the next exploit is we're just going down the line now. Bam, bam, bam.
Gotcha.
So you are a really good photographer, like really, really good. You've taken
Thank
a
you.
lot of our pictures for our little operation here, and basically we have a little segment called Craigslist Come Up.
Oh.
And essentially, this is a segment where we go on Craigslist or Facebook Market, and we like look for things or make fun of things, either or.
Yeah.
And like check out prices. And I'm thinking I'd like to expand my camera collection. I'm always looking for some new equipment for our studio, and
Absolutely.
you are a great resource for making sure that what I buy is going to be something that is going to be one, useful, and two, is working and functional. So
I know it's good.
I thought we could maybe check out some things that
Let's do it. That sounds great.
we found online and see if we should go maybe check them out.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right. So what we have here is some cameras that the crew found from both Facebook and Craigslist.
Awesome.
And I want to expand my collection with functioning cameras first and foremost, not just have something because it's rare or nostalgic but non-functioning.
Yeah.
So the first one we have here is a vintage compact
Rolly.
Rolly?
You pronounce it Rolly, yeah.
So you're familiar with this brand?
Yeah, Rolly is a very esteemed and classic brand. Like big in the 60s, big in the 70s. They're most famous for, I don't know if they created it, but the most popular cameras were the Rolleiflex cameras. The cameras were little lens on the bottom, little lens on top, and you look down. It's a twin lens reflex.
Are they still around?
As a company, yeah, they are. I just bought film from them. I know they make film still. I don't know if they still make cameras. But this looks really nice. It says it's the world's smallest 35 millimeter full frame camera, which is really impressive.
What does full frame mean?
So if you have a 35 millimeter strip, it goes left to right in the camera. Full frame. This person clearly is a digital photographer, because you wouldn't say full frame if you're talking about film. But he's basically saying it takes up the full height and width of an actual frame size. Yeah.
So what do you think about this? They're asking for $225. Should we go
Yeah.
check it out? Is it worth checking out?
Well, the Rolly brand is worth that amount of money, yeah. Just because it is Rolly. He says he doesn't know if it's functioning. It probably needs work. He doesn't know much about the camera. I inherited from a lifelong amateur photographer. Seems to be working fine. I would say 100, 125, and let me come take a look at it. Yeah. And then work your way up.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So we'll hold on to that.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next one.
A Rolleiflex is always, a Rolly camera is always going to be an art piece. You would see at an Airbnb because they're really beautiful.
Okay, so we have a Vivitar 35 millimeter film camera.
No.
Sealed and packaged though.
No,
NIB.
No. You'd find this in the trash. Yeah, I wouldn't. This is, if you're desperate at a Goodwill, you would maybe steal it. You would not buy that, yeah.
I feel like maybe that's where they got it from.
Probably.
Value packed.
Ah, no, don't even.
All right, so that's a no, huh?
Big time.
All right, how about this unique camera collection? I like how they spelled collection there.
Huh.
You can get all that for $40, right? That's what that means?
No, man, he'd be selling his life. 35 old cameras found in Dad's attic. Father worked for Paramount. So some of these are 8mm. Movie cameras. There's nothing here. These you can't get film from most of these anymore. These are old Polaroids. They don't make that kind of Polaroid film anymore. This is 8mm movie film. No, none of this is usable.
Yeah, but look at this one. AGFA.
AGFA is German.
Hey, I got an AGFA.
You do?
Yeah, that little weird, like, rotating digital one that Yoshi loved.
I don't know if I remember that.
What? You were here for that.
Oh.
The digital one that, like...
with the card in it.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a different thing.
It's AGFA.
But yeah.
It's digital, but I'm just saying, that brand's kind of familiar.
All this is, it's just good for, to leave at your Airbnbs. You can't use any of it, really.
Look at that one.
You can't use it, unfortunately.
Okay, so this is a no-go.
No go.
Good deal, but no-go.
Oh, wow. That's an investment.
All right, a Cadet.
I don't know the name, but that's a large format camera.
Cadet.
Cadet.
So 350, large format film camera, 2 lenses, 5 film holders.
So the way this works is you always need a tripod with it. It's kind of like the thing you see in the Old West with the guy hangs up and you put the cape over his head and does the flash. So it's an accordion thing. That's how you focus it. You get the distance right. When it says there's 5 film holders, that's because the film is in its own just one frame is in its own package that you have to load every time you take a photo, and then you replace it. This is cool, but you really can't take it anywhere without having like 2 people to carry all the stuff.
So when it prints, since each film, it's like one shot, right? In its own
It's
package?
one negative.
One negative.
Yeah, it's one negative or one positive. I think you would probably have a positive on this.
So I don't even know what that means, but so does it print like it is? It's not a Polaroid. It doesn't like print out the bottom like automatically or anything like that.
So the Polaroid only prints because it has the chemicals on the bottom and the white part. And when you take the picture, it squeezes it and it develops it as it goes. What you would do is you would put it in its packet. There's a film that you can cover it over so it doesn't get exposed, and then you would take that to get it developed. And then from there, you would put it to the enlarger. Yeah, they're really cool.
What is this part for?
That's how you see everything. That's the focusing screen.
Doesn't look like you'd be able to see through that.
Oh, you can see right through it. You see better than you see through anything. Because you're actually getting the light that comes through it. Because it's like, you remember in school they would teach about the pinhole thing? That's what that is. You would see it reflected on the back. Through the small bit of light that's coming in through there.
So what do you think of the price? Worth checking out?
I've never used a large format camera, but it is a cool thing to dabble with. I probably wouldn't spend $350. I don't know what that brand is. And the person clearly doesn't know what the lens is, so I would low blow them for $200. Yeah. And yeah.
Ruthless.
Why not?
All right. Bosley Reflex.
Ugh.
35 millimeter. Oh, they want a. That's a pretty penny.
2,250. No, yeah.
What do you think about this?
Even work. Only 500 of these cameras were made in Switzerland. Okay, that's why. I mean, if you have a museum of cameras, then this probably is good. No, this isn't worth even taking outside. What if you drop this? It's not like you can fix it. I mean, it's probably really strong, but with these old rangefinder cameras, they need fixing no matter what, just because you're looking through a lot of different focusing screens, and the older they get, there's a lot of chemicals that evaporate inside, and it makes it all foggy, and you can't really see through it. This is cool, but
not for 22.
It's not practical, no. I'm
It's
sure
pretty
it's a
pricey.
good brand. I've never heard of Bolsey, but it's Swiss, so I guess it works well. I don't know.
All right, we'll take that off the list. Oh, we're not doing too good. Well, and we're on our last one, and I don't have a lot of cameras to consider. I mean, this one's offering quite a few, so maybe
300 for all these. Yeah, these are cool. These are kind of disposable.
these look like honestly, these look like trash.
These are amateur point and shoots.
Yeah.
They're from the mid 90s to early 2000s.
Yeah, some of these look familiar for sure. Like
yeah, this is the only, I have this. This is the only good one. This is an actual SLR. It's one of my favorites.
What does SLR stand for?
It stands for single lens reflex, because there's only one lens, and the light that goes in is reflected into your eye. That's why when I said there's a thing called a TLR, a twin lens reflex, because it has two lenses, and you're only looking through the top one. So that's become a twin lens. Yeah.
Okay, and then the D in that situation
Digital.
would be digital.
Digital single lens reflex. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've seen it stylized as digital SLR and then DSLR.
Yeah.
And I never understood if there was a difference between digital or DSLR.
Yeah.
So people are just trying to be fancy, I think.
Yeah. Differentiate.
So I mean, personally, I don't really like what I'm looking at here.
No,
But
this
you said
would
this
be
is the only one that's worth anything. If to me
yeah,
it works.
just because it's an SLR, it's
looking kind of like
it is
shoddy,
it is
though.
crummy, because when these were made, they were made with cheap paint, and the rubber deteriorates. This would be cool if you had a team of, I don't know, 25 people and want to give them all a camera for Christmas as a like a fun gift. That's it. Yeah. But other than that, no.
So if I want to give them all shitty 90s used
Yeah,
cameras.
it would be cool. It'd be a really ironic gift. But yeah, they're not good.
Okay, so I guess we'll have to go back to the drawing board. We'll have to spend a little time, find some good deals out there, and go check them out. And I'd love to film our experience, going to some of these places, talking to the people. It sounds like you know a lot, obviously. And I will be super entertained, kind of sitting in the back and kind of just watching you do your thing. So maybe next time.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right, so that's it for today. Thank you so much for being
My
on the show,
pleasure.
Justin.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate you being here. This was really fun.
Yeah.
I learned a little more about you, which is
Good.
cool.
That's the goal.
And yay, we did our second podcast. And you're not normally involved in this project, but you got to be here for this, which is great. So thank
Under
you.
the lights. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so before we leave, do you want to say anything to the people? Maybe share your socials, anything like that?
Yeah, follow at the Countermen on Instagram, and stay tuned for music and t-shirts. Yeah.
Merch.
Yeah, merch.
Cool. All right. Catch you guys later. Yay, we recorded some shit.